All right, so I'll look at the green dot. I can figure out how to talk to the green dot. So it's been, I guess it's the afternoon, Sunday afternoon. I've been in tears much of the afternoon because I've lost two of my friends recently to heart disease in their 60s. And I'm I'm tired of the deaths. I'm just tired of the deaths. And I'm seeing too many people who are exiting, I think, before their time. And I'm just concerned for that. Too much chronic disease, too much high blood pressure, too much, heart attacks, too many cancers, too much obesity, a lot of chronic disease. And I just think it is unnecessary. And I think that a lot of it is driven by our lifestyles to include a certain amount of stress. So I feel like I need to do something about it. And my goal is to really try and share what I know about health and wellness and help people get to where they want to be. And it's not as though I have all the answers. I have things that I'm trying to work through myself. I've had some challenges, particularly some digestive issues, some uh, knee issues, back issues, that type of thing. And I'm going to talk about those also. It's been a fight for me to kind of regain the health that I want and to achieve a certain level of peak fitness. And I'm going to talk a little bit about that in the next video. But today, what I want to say is I want to alert people to a particular process that I think is getting most people in trouble, and that is glycation. So here's the thing, from the time that you were born, those two cells come together and they make you, and all the instruction to make all of your body eyes, nose, mouth, liver, lungs, kidneys, bones, nerves. It knew how to make them, when to make them, where to put them, and all that type of stuff. And I dare say all, yeah, so my timer went off to stop the video. So I was talking about glycation. So the point is, and I'm not going to be doing a whole bunch of editing. This is just raw and let you have it, taking too long to get it out anyway. But the idea is that again, you had to make all of your structures, and you pretty much only have carbohydrates, proteins, and fats to work with to make all these structures. Eyes, nose, mouth, liver, kidney, lungs, blah blah blah, the whole spiel. And I dare say, not only did you know how to make it then, you still have all that instruction inside of you. And not only do you have to make all the structures, but you have to make the workers that make those structures. Now, the workers are primarily made up of the protein class, right? So and when the workers are working, they're moving, they're folding, unfolding, and that type of thing in order to do their job. And these are things like enzymes or receptors or antibodies, they're, parts of structures, so on and so forth. But in order for them to do what they need to do, they have to be flexible. So when I take a sugar and I stick it on to the protein, it's like putting a stick in the gears of a mechanism. So now the protein can't move. And so when the protein can't move, your workers can't work. They become stiff, right? So, and when they become stiff and can't do their job, now they can't really regulate your body very well. And I think that that's what gets us in trouble, particularly around hypertension. People have been chasing salt. I don't think salt is the issue. I think sugar is the issue. I think as you glycate the proteins and the linings of your vessels, they become particularly stiff, and your body expends a lot of energy trying to remove that glycation, but it can't. And so, if that is in fact the case, realize that when you have high blood pressure and you take high blood pressure medication, the medication is not really doing anything to address the root cause of the problem. And in fact, it takes away the symptom that allows you to know that you have a problem. Not saying don't take your blood pressure medications. It is slowing the bleed, but it is not stopping the bleed. So, and I think that that's how people get in trouble. And so what happens is things kind of continue going on, all right? Excuse me. And uh, so they're still having the heart attacks, they're still having the strokes and all that, despite being treated. And again, it's got to stop, because what it's going to take is some change in lifestyle. You got to get the sugar out of your diet, but sugar is not the only source of glycation. And we can talk a little bit more about it if folks have some questions about that. I'm certainly happy to talk more about that. There are many YouTube videos that you can look at that will talk about glycation and that type of thing. But there are two sources. It's what you get in terms of added sugar in your diet, and then it's the way that you cook your food, because as the temperature of the food increases, you'll tend to, that the browning process of cooking is actually glycating proteins and fats, which is rendering them not as useful to you. And so that is a particular problem. So the idea is you will do yourself well by cutting down the amount of sugar and cutting out the amount of high temperature foods. Now, it's interesting. There's a book that was written by Luigi Cornaro many years ago, I think like the 1500s or so, I believe. I'll figure out in post when it was actually done. But it's called Discourses in a Sober Life. And Luigi Cornaro was born into royalty. He ate and drank whatever he wanted. By the time he was 35, he describes himself as being so sick that he just wanted to die. And in fact, the physicians of the time told him that he only had 6 months to live. And so he decided to change his diet in that he would limit himself to 12 ounces of food a day. And it was primarily as soup, right? So, and that's significant because remember that as you increase the temperature of the food, you get more glycation. So if you have fewer calories and it's primarily a soup, there is very little glycation that you're exposing yourself to. So he does this for about a week and he feels better. So he decides to continue this particular practice. He ends up living, actually, by the end of that year, all of his medical problems were gone. So everything was gone. No challenges at all. Now, this is a person who was given 6 months to live, and now he's doing absolutely fine. And he ends up living to 100. He has all of his teeth. He has no deficits in his vision. He can sing. He can still climb and ride a horse. And it is projected, or it is stated that when he died, he sat in a chair, took out a piece of paper, wrote out his will, sat back, and left the building, right? I mean, that's just boss right there. And that would be a cool way to check out. And so he wrote about, his issues and how he did it and how he felt. And he said it wasn't unique to him because he had friends who did some of the same things and they got some of the same outcomes. And I think the same could be true for us, because remember, the issue is he was sick, gonna die. He was on his deathbed, and all of that turned around by changing his diet. And I think, the body has it. It's stated that it processes about 1,000 billion chemical reactions every second. So when I do like this, the number of chemical reactions that occur is just is astronomical, and things happen very fast. The body's always trying to heal itself. If you cut yourself, your body will send in platelets to stop the bleeding. It will send in fibroblasts to scar that down. It sends in white cells to prevent infection. And it doesn't ask you for any instruction. It knows how to find its way back to wholeness. The only problem is when we create areas of omission, meaning that there are certain things that you need to have that the body is looking for that it doesn't have, or areas of commission. For example, if you put your hands on both sides of the scar and you keep spreading it apart, you keep exposing yourself to things that your body doesn't want, then it's hard to get better. So if you remove the areas of omission and the areas of commission, your body will find its way back to health. And that's what I want to talk about. And so, if you want to come back and spend some time with me, I'm going to share my journey with you, and I'll tell you there's some other things that really scared me about my own health, and I'm really working to try and turn those things around. So I just want to share with you what I understand. But for right now, what I want you to do is, if your stomach is pouching out, suggesting that you have what's called centripetal obesity. That means that there's excess calories, and what's usually driving that is either alcohol or sugar. You got to get it out of your diet. If you're way overweight, particularly again, if that weight is primarily in the midsection, these are signals that you have things that you need to address. If your blood pressure is elevated, this is something that you need to address. If you can't run, or if you're having difficulty doing squats or whatever, you want to make sure that you are maintaining a good amount of muscle mass. In fact, exercise, strength training, and endurance training, if that were a pill, it does more than anything. Health is really about energy management. What is happening is we're living in a way that we're destroying our energy plant within the cell, which is the mitochondria. And so we don't have enough currency, kind of energy currency, to pay all of our metabolic bills. That's the problem. It's not high blood pressure. It's not diabetes. It's not obesity. It's not depression. It is really metabolic dysfunction that is decreasing your ability to produce energy. And as I don't know what's the point. What I want to say is, to make my argument, just look, if I treat your hypertension, that doesn't do anything for your obesity or your depression. If I treat the diabetes, it doesn't necessarily do anything for the hypertension or the depression. But if I give you exercise can help diabetes, depression, cancer, all of the chronic diseases. Now that's when you're doing more stuff. I can have you do mindful meditation, and mindful meditation addresses almost all of the chronic diseases as well. So again, but both of those things help you better manage your energy. So it's all about energy management. So that's what we're going to talk about. I feel a real passion around this. I got to do something. I can't take it anymore. I got to do something, and this is going to be my part. And so, uh, um, hopefully, the information that I share with you, you will find helpful. So, one of the things I'm going to tell you for the sugar issue, just start looking at the labels. Take note of how much added sugar you're getting in your diet. Try and get that someplace south of 20 grams if you can. Most people are up 80, 100 or so. Get it under 20. I'm not saying you have to eliminate it, but get that down. And you'll notice, get a blood pressure cuff. You'll notice as that goes away, it's going to take probably less than 3 months, but you'll notice a significant impact on some of these metrics. So Know that I'm with you. I love you. I want us to do better. I don't want to lose anybody else. So until the next time, peace.